Thanks, Chris. Thanks, Michael, and the PWP team, and to all the judges and the fellow storytellers. So I've taken a little bit of a different tact with the idea of stay home. And I went down memory lane. And growing up, I think my dad, if he had his druthers, he would have either been a meteorologist or a naturalist, because the man loves a weather event, loves it, lives for it. You know, the bigger the snowstorm, the more the hype, the more he would say to us as kids, like, well, you better have your homework done because it's going to blow over. But I have a couple really distinct memories of this notion of when the storm would happen, right? And we were forced to stay home. And so I offer a couple of those to bring it back to the larger idea right now of where we all are in this stay home. And so one is, I have this really distinct memory as a little kid, where it could be the coldest of January nights, and snow outside, and my dad would say, you know what, tonight we're gonna do a slideshow. And the like elation of my siblings and I, and like, you know, like being in like little zip up, like those onesie pajamas, and like getting all ready, and the amount of production for said slideshow, it wasn't a carousel, it was this like giant machine, and like one slide went in and it would like slide over. But my dad's kicker, he would then, like, if it's 8 degrees in January and there's snow outside, he would put up pictures of like the July 4th parade. And so like that notion of summertime in the midst of, so that's one, it's like that slideshow, and I can like almost smell that, like the motor on the projector machine. That's one. The other that he would do, so make it the hottest, you know, it's August 17th and it's been between 89 and 93 degrees and 100% in humidity in Philadelphia for 3 weeks, right? Like hot. So everything you touch is like damp. Childhood home, we had no air conditioning. And so one of his other favorite tricks, right? So you're like sitting at the kitchen table, just sweating, just everything is sweating. And then all of a sudden you would hear on the stereo system, he would play the KYW radio clips of 1060, but it would be snow days and it would be school numbers. So it would be like 412, 413, 414. No, like there was no announcement. Like it would just like all of a sudden kind of like filter, and you're like, oh my God, right? So like, again, that notion of like, yes, it's so hot, but like conjuring up what then the cold of winter and when we are home and freezing in the winter. But then my third stay at home. So my parents just sold right before all of this started, there by the grace of God, the familial homestead last week, third week of February, the home that we had grown up in for 30 plus years, and talk about like purging and, you know, 30 years of, and a couple generations of people stuff, mine included, right? So like Marie Kondoing the like, I don't need the prom dresses or the science reports or the like ribbons from, you know, 10th grade track or what have you, and all that purging. Anyway, in the last, like that day, moving truck and what have you, I did a quick, you know, I just passed through the house one more time, and I had forgotten, but now I have a picture, and I have a picture on my phone and in my head. But there had been a snowstorm, and it was around Christmas time. It was right after Christmas. And I know I was missing something, like, you know, like it was the 7th grade sleepover for something, and couldn't go, right? Forced to stay home. But I had gotten for Christmas glow in the dark stars. And so somewhat reluctantly at first, because, you know, like what 13-year-old wants to still be stuck at home with their parents? Anyway, out came the glow in the dark stars, and the reluctance gave way, and my naturalist, meteorologist, environmentalist father, the stars on the ceiling were done astronomically correct. And so in my last walk through the house, yes, I inherited beautiful pieces of furniture that have so much sentimental value, but that's something I couldn't physically take with me. but that notion of like, just that ceiling of astronomically correct stars. And as a kid, right, like going to bed looking at the stars. So fast forward to where we are now. In my day job, I work with Habitat for Humanity in Philadelphia alongside the best team and best board in town. I'm biased, but stay home, right? Stay home is something that I have the privilege to do. I've had the privilege to do my whole life, and it's taken on a whole new meaning. You know, safe, warm, and dry is not something that far too many people in the region cannot do that. And so my own personal mission and our organizational mission is in this crisis that we're in, you know, here's an opportunity and here's an obligation, right? That stay home can be a vaccine, that as a community and as a collective, that we will be healthier on the other side of this. And one of the ways to do that is, yes, through safe, warm, and dry. And I will leave you with, you know, my last, and to tie it together in all of the uncertainty, right, of all of this, and trying to figure out the path forward. I find myself gravitating towards pictures of what has happened at Habitat. So apple and tree, right? My dad, and it's in me. But I go back through, like on the hard days, I go back through and I'm like, that's right. That was that dedication. That's that family. And even pick up the phone and call that family and how are you and how are you doing right now? But there's something about that memory, right? And that association of, be it the 4th of July parade, or, you know, in the dead of summer, listening to KYW on the radio, and where we are right now of, you know, that making the connection through what has happened, and that grounding of like, we'll be able to do it again. So yeah, good to be with you all. And if I had my druthers, and we got rid of all the tape machines. I was going to say I could put on a tape player right now, the school numbers for KYW, but they all went in the house purge, not to the restore. That's it.